you'll save yourself a lot of pain and just give up to $7.5 million at the most and drop it
just
there.
$1 million. Just give Jim $1 million.
Yeah.
Save 6.5.
Good luck on that one.
They're gonna love us. I'm sure Paladic's like, get those guys out of there.
No, they followed me.
It's like a curse.
Good morning. Welcome back to Talking Racine. Mr. George Myers to my left.
Morning.
Mr. Jim Spodek to my right.
Morning.
And me, Dr. Ken Jorgen, in my own body. Hey, it's a good day today. We got some good topics here. Okay, let's move on to something here. We're going to bid a sad farewell to Middletown, Ohio. All you people out there in Middletown, you're in our prayers, and we're concerned for you because you now have a 12-acre project scheduled for the Great Miami River banks, where there's 12 acres, which is not even as much as we have here at Machinery Row. We got over 20 acres down there.
No, actually, it's 50 acres down there.
50 acres?
There's going to have 50 acres when it's finished.
It is huge. It's a $1.3 billion.
I see. Middleton owns 12, and there's going to be 50 needed, so somebody's going to be selling their property probably under duress. But the thing that's cute here is that an old friend of ours, who's a decent guy. You want to sit and have a coffee with somebody or a beer or something. He's a guy that you could do that with. Jim Palahniuk, former city administrator, or was it city manager? I can never keep it straight.
Well, he was administrator here. He's city manager in Middletown.
That's about a nickel's worth of difference there, right?
Well, one of them acts as an advisor, and the other one more or less runs the show.
Yeah.
City manager. That's what he really wanted to do. He didn't want to be
administrator,
and
he didn't want to,
and talking to people like
Corey.
Well, Jim was he came here from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, right? And where he had, spearheaded an arena project there. Came here specifically to manage the arena project in Racine. Of course, that took a crap, thankfully. And then he moved on to Middletown, ended up in Middletown, Ohio. And how did we find out about this, Jim?
Well, we got a email or a Facebook post that said your boy Jimmy ended up in Middletown. I didn't know what it meant right away because we had done some different shows on the arena. Obviously, we had a lot of controversy on that arena, and we were all against it. So I texted him or emailed him back, and we kind of got a conversation going. He sent me an article. I sent it to these guys. They said, well, we got to talk about this. This is too good to be true.
I got a question for you,
I
George.
want to show a video, though.
Oh.
This will give everybody...
we didn't have a video last week, did we?
Let me put this video on, and then you can kind of get a little background of where Racine is in the play with Middleton, which is, ours was what? How much, George?
Well, it varied, but it started at $40 million, and it was up to $50 million, looking at 70.
Okay,
type of thing.
So that's nothing compared to 1.3.
No, this is
Middleton. You guys got
bigger.
the big enchilada.
Yeah.
But let me play this, and then we'll come back.
It's more than an enchilada. That's a stuffed burrito.
Okay, I'm going to play this.
Billion-dollar project. Hey, this is hits home for you, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Really close.
This is going to transform the Great Miami Riverfront from, being considered in Middletown. This is crazy.
It really is ambitious, to say the least. City Council's considering the riverfront destination an entertainment district and even a theme park now.
This is, Mike Schell, you've been following this. Can this actually happen?
We started to recognize that 18.5 million people lived within a 3-hour drive of downtown Middletown. It really made the difference in recognizing that you could do something that is really transformational.
Hollywoodland, named after the iconic original name of Tinseltown, would develop almost 60 acres of land along the Great Miami River. Plans include a first-class full-service hotel and convention center, a family-oriented hotel and water park, a historic boutique hotel, entertainment and concert venue, and an indoor amusement park. It would also have a 3,000-space parking garage, luxury apartments and condos, motion picture studio sound stages, multiple bars, restaurants, and brew pubs, and fashion and recreational retail. And the economic impact to Middletown?
Huge. Thousands of new jobs, investment well over $1.5 billion, incredible amounts of spin-off.
Landley, Lyle Landley. And I come before you good people tonight with an idea. Probably the greatest.
You're going to get a whole lot of information. You're going to know an incredible amount more than you knew before about both the design and the financing. And if you like what you've heard, you'll be in a position to start moving forward on.
Oh, it's not for you. It's more of a Shelbyville idea.
Now, wait just a minute. We're twice as smart as the people of Shelbyville. Just tell us your idea and we'll vote for it.
It's got a name now. It's Hollywoodland. And it really is a destination entertainment venue and district, quite unlike anything else in the United States. It's never been done before. Location-based entertainment, basically. The creation of a brand new industry. So the idea is this group of developers would be partnering with the city to develop a little bit over 50 plus acres along our riverfront in the downtown, immediately adjacent to our downtown.
All right? I tell you what I'll do. I'll show you my idea. I give you the Springfield Monorail. I've sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by gum, it put them on the map.
So we talk about Lexington and Louisville and Cincinnati and Indianapolis and Dayton and Columbus, all the way up to Toledo.
So now you're seeing them, they start to make the ice here. The ice is only about 3/4 of an inch thick. So they set it up for hockey. You can also do Disney on Ice, ice capades, those kind of things.
There's nothing on earth like a genuine, bona fide, electrified 6-car monorail. What'd I say?
Monorail.
What's it called?
Monorail.
That's right, monorail.
It's the kind of transformative opportunity that this community or any community hasn't seen in a generation, in a lifetime. So, you have to really look seriously at that, given.
Two things. The first thing is that southeastern Wisconsin can accept one of these. The numbers aren't really there for 2 or 3 in southeastern Wisconsin.
If we're not prepared to approve it, I guarantee you, in an instant, someone else will.
Well, George.
Now, you might want to play that video a couple of times to see. This is a scheme that's going across the country. I mean, it's played many times, and the real target isn't always that the project has to get completed, because in going into the project, there's lots of pictures to be drawn, there's lots of sales pitches to be made, there's lots of advisory positions to be filled, and in our case, in Racine, they started off with $30,000, just kind of break the ice, and then they
fly them in, George.
Yeah, and then they came in with this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 project, which was $500,000 to $600,000 for a feasibility study. So now that's not big in terms of
Well, before
like
you
the
spend a
citywide.
lot of money, you got to make sure this is a good idea.
But that's $500,000 to $600,000, a little kitty there, say for them to go for, and then the really nice one, if they can get to the next one, which is 2.5 to 3.2 million, just to get plans and bids out. Now we get the big expenditures, and then the final thing was the $40 to $45 million construction. Now in Middleton's case, what we had to play with was what was called a agreement that came. It was called an intergovernmental fund. It had a couple $1 million in there, but it was broken up into a whole bunch of projects. So $50,000 to $600,000 is about as much as we could sap out of that thing. You guys have something really big. You have a nice little kitty of $7.5 million. Now, $7.5 million. $7.5 million. You don't want to go around planning a $40 million project. That's just not worth the $7.5 million. So what you got was a $1.3 billion project. Now, if you're real smart, you will just lose the $7.5 million. I mean, that could be spent on some nice things like maybe getting some good playground equipment or improving some ball fields or something like that. You can do some nice things around the community. But all right, so you're going to lose out on that. But be careful of that 1.3 billion. Ours started at 40 to 45 million. By the time it was getting into real discussion, it was up to $50 million. And by the way, at that point, we had a man that moved on the scene. His name was Dennis Monte, and he had this great little sign, Jim. You might want to put that up on the screen. It said A for arena with a line and a circle through it, no arena. So we had started our campaign to break it down then, and Dennis saved the community from going to the $40 to $45 million. We lost the $500 to $600,000. We avoided the $2.5 to $3 million loss, and we definitely avoided the $40 to $45 million. But the point was, that was a starting point. It actually, as it turned out, it was going to be closer to $60 to $70 million. And yours, starting at $1.3 billion, I can just guarantee you, by the time you get done, it's going to be $2 billion. And that's where the real hurting comes in. Jim Pelanek came from a place called Rio Rancho. It was down in New Mexico, where they actually sold the place, sold the community on doing it. They actually did it, and you can look that up. It's still on Wikipedia, and it tells about how it failed to pay for its bonds, and the city was really hurting tax-wise and this type of stuff. It caused a lot of aching to people down there, and that was just a little $53.8 million. Your $1.3 billion project would really, really hurt. So if you're really, really smart, you will study it, and you will find out as you go through the process, and you find out that this is just a spiel. You heard it on the thing. There's a couple things they say. If we don't do it, and the same thing we were saying. If we don't do it in Racine, they're going to do it down in Kenosha, or they're going to do it up in Milwaukee. They'll steal this plan. And you saw it right there that what Pelanek said. If you don't do this, somebody else is going to grab onto it.
Guarantee.
Yeah.
Now, who did the arena project around here? That was the one that was all these other communities wanted to do.
The one up in
Oshkosh city leaders are expressing confidence tonight that the financial issues surrounding the Menominee Nation Arena won't have an impact on redevelopment efforts in the surrounding neighborhood that's known as the Sawdust District.
As we reported yesterday, the company that built the facility has filed a lawsuit against its owners for failing to pay the bills. In the next News update, Jason Zimmerman asked if taxpayers should worry about the city's investment.
As early as next week, Balin Buildings, the Menominee Nation Arena's general contractor, and Fox Valley Pro Basketball, which owns the arena, could be in court over a claim more than $13 million is owed on a past due mortgage that hasn't seen a scheduled payment since May of last year. During a meeting Tuesday night, City Manager Mark Roloff provided council members with an update.
We're really going to advise the council that this remains a private party issue, that everything that the city's done to protect the taxpayer still applies.
The city is not part of the lawsuit, but has suspended property tax rebate payments tied to the arena being in a TIF district. It's also the focal point of an area south of the Fox River known as the Sawdust Days, with long-term redevelopment plans.
It has been actually successful in that we replaced slum and blight, and there have been some successful relationships out of that. There's been new development as a result.
So far, city officials tell me they have not heard from any developers who are not moving forward with plans because of concerns over the arena's financial status, but they do admit there might be some uncertainty in coming months.
There's certain people that are the pushers of this, and they go around the country pushing these plans, and they're making a lot of money off of that. It's not always the project that has to be completed. For instance, yours is a really, really nice little kitty. That's $7.5 million.
I got a recommendation for them.
That's a nice little kitty to go after, and that's why you got this great big project, $1.3 billion. So your attention goes over to the $1.3 billion project, and boy, that's going to be really marvelous. Why they're over here spending that $7.5 million and dishing that out. Yeah. That's the real kitty for it. What were you going to say, Doc?
My recommendation is, now your $7.5 million that probably going to go down the toilet if you follow up on this thing. Take $1 million of that, give it to Jim Pelanek as a retirement fund. Maybe buy him a nice house or something, give him $1 million, and just nip this thing in the bud.
Sounds a little silly, but you get $6.5 million then out of it for your community.
$6.5 million, yeah. And you could do that. You could develop the riverfront a little bit. You could put in some fishing shacks.
But seriously, these projects are just as you get into studying them, there was another one just south of here where they did that. Remember, they did that big soccer arena.
Soccer field outside of Chicago.
That was a big, huge one, and they built that. And boy, they are hurting now.
A population of 16,000 who wanted a piece of Major League Sports. Bridgeview, Illinois decided in 2004 to jump into the big-time sports business and placed a bid to build a stadium for a Major League Soccer team. Village officials impressed the owners of the Chicago team with plans to build a stadium and then use the venue as the center of a developmental project. 11 years later, the entire plan could be written off as a dismal failure. Bridgeview wasn't the only small government that banked on the stadium to put the village on the map, so to speak. Chester, Pennsylvania's experience with the MLS has also been an economic disaster, and Harrison, New Jersey, isn't too far behind either municipality in terms of misjudging the value of sports stadiums or arenas. Still, politicians keep throwing money at sports despite the evidence of municipal fiscal failure. Bridgeview floated a $135 million municipal bond issue in 2005 and was hoping to get back the investment from the stadium and surrounding development, which was going to include a water park. The stadium opened in 2006. The water park evaporated, and someone opened a gas station by the property. Almost a decade after opening, Bridgeview is still looking for developers, but the village has told residents that there is another debt restructuring coming, and taxpayers will have to pick up the tab to the tune of $18,000 per citizen. Politicians sign stadium deals for all sorts of irrational reasons. The one reason that might make sense, a stadium as an economic stimulus, is a proven failure.
The taxpayers.
And you
trying
think
to pay
about
for
this.
that thing.
If you really think about the way we went through this COVID pandemic question, and how things have changed as far as going on. I mean, we have Summerfest up in Milwaukee. Absolute disaster. That thing is just about folded up. And that was a huge, nationally recognized, and we've had trouble with keeping that thing afloat. So when you start talking about Hollywood Land, I just don't see that.
I love the name, Hollywood Land.
That's as good as it gets. You know,
It's a scheme. You showed it on what's the cartoon there? The
Simpsons.
Simpsons, yeah, the Simpsons. I mean, it is so broadly played around the country that the Simpsons even came up with a cartoon on it. Yeah. I mean, you are just going through a little routine here. It's like the Carney show that goes around and they go from town to town.
Well, here's the thing, George. They've got 51,000 people. We had 78,000. Now, you think about taking a tax, but no, the bonding is going to be we heard all the same stuff.
Yeah.
There's going to be no cost to it. They were going to wipe out the whole intergovernmental plan.
And listen, and Rio Rancho was the same thing down there. It's always the same pitch, and then the bonding doesn't go through, and then the taxpayers are stuck with it.
Now, here's the other thing. You've got common council members. Now, I think in your community, there's 5 of them. We've got 14? 15. And probably, I don't know, we had probably a fairly close split on that arena. A lot of pressure to get this thing through. As a matter of fact, they actually voted to move on. But it was the community, it was the people in the community that stopped that arena.
The guy that won the election, Corey Mayer, said he had never seen so much opposition to any one issue in his life, and this was
and he had been for it,
right?
Until he
was chosen by the prior mayor. This was our prior mayor's pet project, was this arena. So he had been chosen to carry this forward. He had to ditch it because the community was so opposed to it. So it's like the fact that your aldermen are supporting it is not a good sign, because they will be sold on it. They're looking for solutions. They're looking for ways to make your community.
They think they're going to wear that star when you walk around the community. It isn't going to be a star when that thing kind of comes together. You're talking about a lot of money, awful lot of money for a small community.
And if it was really legitimate, it would go like Disneyland comes in. I mean, when Walt Disney went into it, he just spent his money, built it, and he's making a lot of money off it because it was worth it. As soon as you go into bonding and you have to have community support, and it's a private public project.
Well, that's where the switch comes in, because it's always going to be the private developers are going to come in and they're going to finance it. They're going to do all the building. There's going to be really minimal investment on the part of the community, maybe $7.5 million. But eventually, the developers are not going to have the money, and then they're going to turn to the community for financial assistance, which is what happens here time and time again. It happened with the arena project. It happened with Machinery Row, and Foxconn. Man, that's a big time example.
Look at Foxconn. We're sitting on that. So I mean, take it from
Get away from the silver bullet idea. There is no perfect explanation. There's nothing that's going to come in and just blossom your community. It's going to take work, and it's going to take low taxes, and it's going to take a good community structure to build a community. Not something coming in that's just going to put this glow upon the community and suddenly make it just blossom.
I kind of was looking at you got a nice community. You do. It looks like a nice little community, and it looks. I don't see.
They're primed.
They're primed.
Well, that's the thing. It gets so boring. We've been doing this for a long time. We got all this land over here, and look at this.
Oh, there's people down there with their feet in the water fishing for.
You will have lots. You will have lots of games if this goes through, and the big game is going to be paying off those ponds.
Yeah.
So you will see your taxes double or triple.
Be careful.
That's all I can tell you. Hopefully you'll save yourself a lot of pain and just give up the $7.5 million at the most and drop it
just
there.
$1 million. Just give Jim $1 million.
Yeah.
Save 6.5.
Good luck on that one.
They're gonna love us. I'm sure Paladek's like, get those guys out of there.
No, they followed me.
It's like a curse.
Well, we're glad to be of assistance. Well, that was fun. I hope it actually bears some fruit with you people over in Middleton. I really do, because man. You know those pictures that they had of what this thing is going to look like?
It's amazing. It was like looking at the arena all over again. It was like
a big top. Ohio's got going for them, though. Isn't there a town over in Ohio now that Foxconn bought a plant?
Yeah, Foxconn's in your state.
They're going to build a car place here. They were going to build a car place here, and they found a ready-made plant that they can build cars in.
Quit giving these guys money. Stop giving money. That's the bottom line. Enjoy your community. Be nice to your neighbors. Get your school system in order. I mean,
there's a lot of great things you can do in a town like Middletown. Sounds like it's got really things going. Don't wreck it. Don't wreck it with bad financing.
Well, this is talking Racine. This is kind of tangentially Racine, but we're going to try and give you the benefit of our experience. So,
and you go back to some of our episodes. Matter of fact, the one I ripped that off, it was episode 27. So that was back. That was in the early days when we were doing. We're at 247 now.
Yeah.
So that was in the early days. I mean, and we may have come on because of some of the.
Well, that was certainly one of the incentives,
Yeah, it was an incentive. Machinery Row was another one. We've had some disasters here. Foxconn, and we go on and on and on, but you really take it.
Well, Racine's in a bit of trouble. I know we've been losing population since the 1970 census. So that's 50 years of gradual declining in population without any years where we gained something. And the thing is that there's these rescue operations keep coming. We had KRM. Remember, we were going to put out this little railroad train that's going to transfer people down from Chicago to
Milwaukee with a stop and receive.
Yeah, I know that. All kinds of little plans, and unfortunately, our supervisors up at the county level and our aldermen at the local have no answers. They haven't figured out yet that what they need to do is just leave us alone, quit hassling the businesses and stuff in town, and we'll make it grow. But they can't figure that part out. So they look for these other silver bullets, these other solutions that come in there, and so these salesmen come through and they keep giving these spiels out, and they're very, very.
They're good at what they do.
Oh yeah, they got great PowerPoint presentations. They got great materials, great speakers, and it's one heck of a show.
We were going to have hockey, remember? We're going to have a hockey rink. And Disney on Ice. And we're going to have, oh my God.
And the little bits we see here, we're looking at Middletown, I said, we've seen that show. We've already been to that movie. We know it. We know how it comes out. We know the ending.
Well, enjoy the movie. That's about it for today. We've enjoyed having you here. We hope you come back and see us next week. We'll be here.